Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to another Supercoach Insider podcast. My name is Swiz, here to talk Round 8 Supercoach BBL. As always, check us out on all our social media platforms, in particular YouTube, Spotify, and get in contact with us via Twitter. Apologies not being here for the last couple of rounds, sort of been a little bit busy, just got a new friend to the family. This is Max, or Maxie as we've been calling him, after the great man, so we have been a little bit busy. Dealing with that and on top of some crazy work shifts. I think the last round finished about midnight, and then I had to start work about 2 in the morning, and by the time I would have recorded, I would have not been there, would have not got it out in time. So not a lot has changed for me from a team-wise, from a ranking-wise. I've been hovering around that 3,500 mark pretty well all season. Still that disastrous starting, and with Jilks and Sam Harper, some of that week where I had Harper and Cartwright on the double and they both scored none. It's really been frustrating, but that's the way it goes. This week, another mixed bag. My captain score constantly keeps saving me, as Max wants to try to lick me there. And he and Jordan with a 179 as my vice captain, which I loopholed via Rogers, was brilliant. So very happy with that part of things. Unfortunately for me, some of the other scores, it wasn't so great. McDermott stuck on the bench, was loophole him with Jilks, and then of course Jilks plays and then scores a 10 after it looked like he'd been banished with Bancroft as taking the gloves, but of course he has to come in and ruin that. So after one game I was thinking, it wasn't too bad and swapping Inglis there, but then we saw what McDermott did in that second game where the rest of the Hurricane players just exploded. So yeah, that was unfortunate because that's another, it would have been short off the field, and there's 113 points that I'll lose straight away. So I scored 1,000 this week, and that straight away could have been 1,113. And then because of the loophole and Jilks playing, I had to reverse my trades, and that meant Rogers came back instead of Overton, and we saw what Overton did as well with his single game score of 123. So again, Overton might have not played, but yeah, probably it just depends. But he probably does come on field there for Sanger. That's another 80 points, and 1,200 point score and move up those rankings, and it looks all good. The Western Australian bowlers did not help me at all. Unfortunately, Ty and Richardson, I ended up trading out Berendorf just because he wasn't there in the first game, and of course he comes in the second game and performs really well, and then Ty's the one that gets dropped. Was sort of going against those Scorchers spinners because they had 3 of them in Agar, McKenzie and Connolly, and of course Agar just still dominated, and they all, especially Connolly as well, so it did very well. So unfortunately it was the quick bowlers, and I know a lot of Richardson owners were very disappointed in his output, so very frustrating. And he's still in there at the moment, but I'll go through my trades and we'll see the difference. Everybody's playing this week, so it's really if you wanted to kind of set up for the last week with the Thunder, or if you're just trying to bring in players for this week. So a few people are jumping on Jamie Overton. He's the third highest traded in player so far, so no surprise. A lot of people are now trying to jump on Chris Jordan. I probably wouldn't jump on that train now. I had a fantastic week, more with the bat than with probably his bowling, but I think that's just points missed, and then try to get on to the next player. And the VC and the captain options will be pretty obvious this week. So if I go into what my team looks like for this week after my trades, and we've made a couple of those Scorchers have made way, which would be no surprise to anyone. So Richardson gone. At the moment I'm keeping Hardy. Hardy's still scoring really well, averaging a 54, still going to bat 3, playing the Heat who are on fire, but at least it's back at Optus Stadium this week, so the Scorchers do play better there, which is great. Matt Short into Maxwell, really hoping either a Jilks, Harper or Magnetti don't play. I'm pretty sure one of them won't play this week, so the only problem with that is the strikers play first up, so that takes Magnetti out of the picture. But Harper or Gilks, I'm really hoping one of them don't get up. Otherwise, I might have to do a bit of loophole action. I think Barden's the popular trade-in from the Heat, just because he's 42k. Burden it is 42k. And batted bowler, and that's sort of people using as a loophole, and also to maximise their cash so they can get players in. Another popular player people trading is Sam's. Break even of 122. Now, I've been trying to go against people with the high break evens, but just look at like Overton last week, ends up making cash because he smashes that break even. But I'm still hopeful Sam's doesn't have a dominating game. Like 122 is a massive game in just a single match, so I'll be planning to get him in next week. You'll need him for the double then. So then we've got of the Thunder players, Alex Hales comes back in, top of the order, averaging 40. David Warner, as much as I was trying to avoid picking him, I think he's flying in by helicopter from his brother's wedding, so looks like he's prepared to play these last 3 games. So at 125 and that break even of 36, it's really hard to ignore. There's a chance he scores less than that, but what's the risk in having him? The chance that he could come out and absolutely destroy it, and then you sort of pay him 140, 150 for him this week would be brutal. Nathan McAndrew, he started the season was pretty slow. But his last couple of weeks have been pretty good. He scored a 46 and a 56, so that's given him a break even of -10. So as they're sort of probably one of their leading bowlers at the moment, I'm going to target him. So bringing in the 3 Thunder players, and then that gives me the options for the last round. The Heat of the team for the bye for the last round. So if you've got some Heat players, either keep them for this week, but look at trying to move them on because you don't want any of them for round 9 unless you are planning to keep one as a loophole. But outside of that, it's pretty straightforward, and I think short to Maxwell will be the obvious. If you are behind, like a lot of people are starting their Supercoach finals this week, but if you are behind in rankings or trying to catch up, well, this is where there's no wrong with taking a risk. Like as I said, I'm 3,500 and that. So if everybody's who doesn't have Overton's trying to trade him in, I was considering that, and I'm like, well, I'm just doing the same as the rest of the crowd. So if you're up near the top, then those players that people have, and the high percentage owned, you should definitely be jumping on. But if you are way further back, there's no wrong with taking a bit of a risk. And probably the best thing that could potentially happen is your pod players go really well, and then you're in chance for the weekly prize, which it's more what I'm trying to set myself up hopefully for next week to have a team of at least maybe 5 or 6, 700 Thunder, and hopefully the double game will give them the best opportunity, and then maybe they'll get high up in that weekly ranking. Talking to the BBL Supercoach creators, they've actually asked any feedback for this season, any ways to try to make the game more friendly for those casual users as well. So if you've got any ideas, feel free to send them through. I'm more than happy to pass them on, or we can sort of chat about that via Twitter. It's been some really good input from the community, especially one of the groups I'm in, who's currently ranked 1 over the highest league overall, number 1. So it's pretty competitive BBL happening this season. So good luck to everyone this week. Try to get those Thunder players in so you're prepared for next week, and all the best as the season continues tonight. Kicking off with the Strikers and the Hurricanes down at Hobart. So get those teams locked in. It's a 7:15 start too. Just to remind people, a couple of the last games have been 7:40. So 7:15 at Blundstone. Lock those sides in. Enjoy, guys, and we'll talk soon. Bye.